So what exactly happened at the hospital? Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the incident that took place at the Al Ali Arab Hospital in Gaza, which, by the way, is sponsored by the Anglican Church, that took the lives of an estimated 500 people. Now, before I continue, may they rest in peace and prayers out to their family. There is quite a bit of discussion about this online, a lot of arguing, a lot of finger pointing. The IDF says Hamas did it. Hamas says the IDF did it. The U.S. says we don't know who did it. And in between all the back and forth, there's a lot of information and whatnot to comb through. But first things first, my take on it, my opinion about who did it, I think Israel did it. And the reason why is because they struck the same hospital on Saturday. And today's Tuesday. So what are the odds of Israel striking this very same place 2 days ago and then not striking it 2 days later when there's massive destruction and whatnot? Now, before I go any further, let's get into some articles and videos and everything else. If you want to see or hear anything that I've placed on the screen, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. You see the headline here: hundreds killed in strike on Gaza hospital, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Now, depending upon where you go, you're going to get different headlines. Depending upon the time you go there, it'll be different. New York Times had a headline that said, Israeli airstrike hits hospital. Then they changed it. Oh, it was a blast. So they don't really know what's going on. Information is changing. They have different reports. You see the subhead here. The hospital was a shelter for thousands of residents who fled their homes. Now, this hospital was in the northern part of Gaza. And if you know about what's been happening in the news, the IDF told Palestinians to flee that particular part of Gaza and go to the south. The problem is that you have 1.1 million residents in that part of Gaza. And Gaza itself is very small. It's about Washington, D.C. level times 2. That size. And DC got about 500, 700,000 residents in the city proper, and it's very tightly populated. So think about 2.3 or so million people in the same size as Washington, DC times 2. Okay, it's tightly populated, and it's not really anywhere to go. We'll talk about that particular part, the logistics behind evacuation in a minute, but the hospital was legitimate. You had infirm people, elderly, people that had gotten injured by previous airstrikes, sick people, sick kids that could not really leave. Now, let's keep on going here. We're going to get through a little bit of this. So here is some of the pictures of the chaos after the strike. Now, you see where it says the IDF denied responsibility for the attack, saying a failed launch by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad caused the blast. Quote, from the analysis of the operational systems of the IDF, an enemy rocket barrage was carried out toward Israel, which passed in the vicinity of the hospital when it was hit. Benjamin Netanyahu said the barbaric terrorists in Gaza are the ones who attacked the hospital. Now, was that just for today on Tuesday or for Saturday? We're going to get to all that in just 1 minute. And you see where the U.S. says, we don't know where it came from. We're kind of in the dark. So here's some scenes from the hospital. Very unfortunate. Now, Dr. Ghassan Abu Sattar from Doctors Without Borders was operating at the time. So this was a hospital that was a legitimate place. You have a doctor in there operating, using the hospital for a hospital. He says there was a strong explosion and a ceiling fell on the operating room. He said, this is a massacre. Now, this is what's going on. Now, here's something that's a very key point. This hospital was one of the 20 in the north of Gaza Strip facing evacuation orders from the Israeli military. This is from the World Health Organization. The order for evacuation has been impossible to carry out given the current insecurity, critical condition of many patients, and lack of ambulances, staff, health system bed capacity, and alternative shelter for those displaced. Again, this particular hospital was used as a shelter for many who were ordered to evacuate. They didn't want to be just in their house. They wanted to be in a place that was probably deemed as safe, but maybe they were not in a safe place. Now, Let's get into some of the video here. There's a statement from the IDF that I read to you. Again, I will link to that in the box. Now, this is a news report from Saturday. Remember, this is an Anglican church hospital, Al-Ali Hospital. And they were asking for donations because of an attack that happened on Saturday. You see it right here. Look at this. The Anglican hospital in Gaza, Al-Ali Hospital, was hit by rockets at about 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. And they got hit again on today, just 2 days later. So, well, 3 days later. So what's going on? So who hit it on Saturday? Was it Hamas that accidentally hit the hospital 2 times in a row within less than a week? Or did Israel hit it on Saturday and then hit it again? Remember what has been said about what Hamas does. They allegedly store munitions, weapons, ammunition, and whatnot in places that are less likely to be hit by Israelis. They store them in schools, apartment buildings, hospitals. That's what I've heard. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. So it makes sense for Israel to say, hey, y'all evacuate and we're going to hit these places that we know have munitions. But unfortunately, the hospital was not evacuated and we have 500 lost souls. Nobody wants to claim responsibility for what happened, but we're going to get into some video to see what's going on. Now, this video is from Saturday. This is the first strike that happened. And this is, again, you see the timestamp right here, October the 15th. This is about 2 days ago, so before today's attack. And the caption says, Al-Ali Arab Hospital, one of the main medical facilities in Gaza City, was hit with a direct Israeli military strike on Saturday. Let's watch this. Then we're going to get into the more recent rocket attacks. Now, I'm going to turn the sound off because it's speaking in their language. But again, I'll link to it in the box. Now, you see the timestamp here, October the 14th. The video was posted on October the 15th. So this was obviously before today. And you see it says Al-Ali Arab Hospital, Gaza. It had already been hit by the Israelis. And if not the Israelis, then who? Why would Hamas hit the same hospital in their own borders twice within 1 week? So the story that you got to believe is, and again, we're just trying to get information. We don't have confirmation one way or the other. But the story is that Hamas accidentally hit the same hospital twice within 1 week in their own border, or Israel hit the hospital on Saturday, and then Hamas hit the same place by accident 2 or 3 days later, or Israel hit the hospital on Saturday, didn't do enough damage, and then hit it again 3 days later after they told people to evacuate, and the location they hit was one of the places on the evacuation list. I'm just saying, okay, that's what's going on. Now let's keep on going here. This is an alleged video of the actual attack on the hospital. Now we're going to look at a couple of videos and they're going to be a little bit different. Again, this is preliminary. This might not be the correct video, but this is what is being alleged. Let's check it out.
يا الله يا الله يا الله مستشفى انجليزي مستشفى انجليزي يا رب الحمد لله يا رب.
Now, if that was an accident, if that's the correct video and it was an accident, it doesn't appear to be an accident, because I'm going to play it one more time and I want you to hear the whistling sound before it strikes. Not just the explosion, but the whistling. To me, the whistling means that it's targeted, like it's going to a specific place. It's not just debris that's falling from the sky, kind of randomly, not targeted, nor is it a failed rocket that does not have the correct velocity to strike with that kind of noise. But again, there's another video that is a tad bit different. We're going to watch both. So one more time, then the next video. So that's one. Now let's keep on going here. Here's another one. And the caption here says, analysis, new video shows rocket launches during the time the Al-Ali Baptist Hospital in Gaza was destroyed. The video shows one rocket either being intercepted or failing, followed by 2 explosions on the ground. The second explosion appears to be at the hospital. The IDF says PIJ failed rocket launch hit the hospital. So let's watch. Now, look very closely. You see the rocket up there. Now, that might have been intercepted at that point. And now we got a debris field. Maybe it's split into 2. Maybe it's split into more. But then there's one explosion. And I think there's going to be one more on this side over here. Or maybe I'm wrong. But that's one explosion right there. There's no sound that I hear from this video. That's just pretty much what it is. All right. We keep on watching here. There may be another explosion coming. And again, if a rocket hit the hospital and it hit the munitions, that can cause the explosion. So if a rocket hits the hospital and just goes through walls and whatever, it may not be that much damage. But if it hits munitions, see like a tree right there on fire, I think. If it hits munitions, or if a fire happens and then the fire blows munitions up, now we got a big explosion. That could be what's going on. So either way it goes, an explosion did happen, a strike did happen, and we have an estimated 500 people gone. So that's what's happening. Now, there's more here we can get through. I got to show this clip right here. I got to show this. I'm getting kind of ahead of myself. But people are asking about the lack of evacuation, because there was an order to evacuate. People didn't evacuate. Some say, why doesn't Egypt and Jordan take in refugees from Gaza? Here is King Abdullah from Jordan, I believe, speaking about that. Then we're going to get into some of the more finer details of logistics. Let's check it out.
To part of the question on the issues of refugees coming to Jordan, and I think I can quite strongly speak on behalf not only of Jordan as a nation, but of our friends in Egypt. That is a red line, because I think that is the plan by certain of the usual suspects to try and create de facto issues on the ground. No refugees in Jordan, no refugees in Egypt. To part of the question.
So you heard that. They're saying no refugees in Jordan, none in Egypt. And I think part of the reason is because you do have some terrorists in there and you don't know who is who. Then you're going to have a humanitarian crisis and they won't get help for the crisis. You're going to have issues with they might have problems taking care of their own people, let alone refugees. And also, they may not want to help Israel facilitate ethnic cleansing, because from their point of view, they're thinking that they're using this opportunity right now to clean out Gaza and then take it back and then have only Israelis be in Gaza rather than the Palestinians. And then it'll be the same thing with West Bank, which is bordering Jordan. So now here's something else about the whole evacuation process. There's a blockade on Gaza, and you can see some of the issues right here. Okay, first of all, look at the geography. You see the east part of this particular map. You see this red line. That's the no-go zone. This is heavily blockaded and patrolled by Israel. That is where Israel is over there. They can't go into Israel. That's blocked off. There's military bases right here, or at least one military base right there. They can't just go into Israel. Egypt, they can't really go there either. There's a border fence wall there. There's, I think, 1 or 2 crossings that are open, and that's heavily guarded by the Israelis. They can't really go there freely. The Mediterranean, there's a blockade out there in the sea enforced by the Israelis, and there's a literal wall at the very north. So when you're talking about evacuation, you can't just go to the north. You can't go into Israel. You can't really go into Egypt. And where are you going to go? Into the sea? Where are we going out in the water? Now, there are some who've been able to get out there in the sea with outside help from foreign nations, but you got 1.1 million people. It's not that easy. It's like during Hurricane Katrina. as I close. Hurricane Katrina, people were ordered to evacuate, but not everyone did, and it was a mess. And some are going to say, well, why didn't they evacuate? Well, I mean, you had nursing home people that couldn't really leave. They had to pretty much stay where they were. There was no real plan to assist them from getting to point A to point B. You had people that just had no ride, people in poverty, little kids, homeless people. You can't always just evacuate like that. And again, that hospital was used as a shelter for many people to not be in a line of fire of Israeli airstrikes. So it's like, what are you going to do? That's pretty much what's going on. As I close, for real, I'm going to say this. I think the Israelis did that, and it's unfortunate that you have a lot of life lost. I'm not saying that because I'm anti-Semitic or anything like that. I'm looking at the evidence presented in front of me. Could I be wrong? Of course I could be wrong. But the evidence, look, there's video and news reports of them hitting the same hospital on Saturday. And then on Tuesday, it gets hit again. And this particular place was in the specific list of 20 places that they told the Palestinians to evacuate. Why did they tell them to evacuate? Because maybe they thought there were some munitions under the hospital or near the hospital, and when they evacuated, there wouldn't be any casualties, and then they could strike the hospital and take out the munitions, therefore weakening Hamas. But unfortunately, they struck the hospital allegedly with people in there. In my opinion, that's probably what happened, but we're going to see as time progresses. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what happened here? Do you think the Israelis hit the hospital? Do you think it was Hamas with an errant rocket strike? Do you think the Israelis hit the hospital on Saturday? And if not, who? Do you think Hamas hit the hospital twice? The Israelis hit it once and then Hamas again, or the Israelis twice? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think this is just really an ugly scenario in war, and I don't think that the U.S. should be involved here. We got a lot of ugly scenarios like this happening all over the world. Is it our place to get involved with everything? I mean, you may love Israelis, you may love Ukrainians, you may love the Taiwanese or Chinese or whatever, but is it our place to get involved with every single world conflict? I'm not quite sure. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.